There we are, marvellous Horace Andy and a super band. We'll be hearing more from him later on. But now, please welcome, and we're going to be hearing him singing later, but first let's have a short interview, if we may, Donovan. Well, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks,
I'd like
Jools.
to fly straight back to the very early part of your career, if I may now. People have said that you're a folk artist. I would never pigeonhole anybody, I mean, people make music, but what was the folk influences that you had?
Right, sitting under the table with a shandy in Glasgow, listening to Irish and Scottish folk song.
Yeah.
Then when I hit the campus, when I was 15, in the south of England, that was it. Jack Kerouac, that was jazz, that was Miles Davis, that was Bohemia, that was Zen Buddhism. And of course, folk music. That was Joan Baez, that was Woody Guthrie, and eventually Bob Dylan, who turned us all onto a new thing.
Now, your big break came on television programme Ready, Steady, Go, I think.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, what it was I was the minstrel. I sat with Cathy McGowan.
The troubadour?
Yeah, the troubadour, and I sang songs of the charts. You know, I'd take the mickey out of Tom Jones, Gene Pitney. I was a kind of a folk singer troubadour, yeah.
Now, I think we've got some footage of you at the BBC taken in 1965.
And he's fighting for democracy, he's fighting for the Reds. He says it's for the peace of all. He's the one who must decide who's to live and who's to die. And he never sees the writing on the wall. But without him, how would Hitler have condemned him at Dakar? Without him, Caesar would have stood alone. He's the one who must decide who's to live and who's to die. And without him, all this killing can't go on. He's the universal soldier and he really is to blame. His orders come from far away no more. They come from here and there and you and me. And brothers, can't you see? This is not the way we put the end to war.
That was very good. You mentioned earlier that the Beatles being an influence.
Yeah.
And I think you went, did you not go to see the Maharishi with the Beatles to India?
Yeah, not many people know this, but Dylan turned me on to meeting the Beatles one night in the suite in the hotel. And there I was with Dylan and four guys that were the most influential songwriters of their day, really, at the time. And we all ended up in February of 1968, can you believe this, at the height of an enormous fame, with managers and agents going nuts back in London. We said goodbye for 6 weeks. We took the guitars.
Did the Maharishi teach you anything on the guitar? Is that right?
No, well, yeah, he taught us a few things. He taught us the meditation, and he actually gave us a space to sit and think about things that we hadn't even had a chance to think about. But I've got to say, Beatles and me, Mike Love of the Beach Boys, Paul Horn, the jazz flautist, we went there specifically to learn to meditate, but we came back with enormous influence from music that we passed between us. The new White album that they made and the Hurdy Gurdy Mau album I made, kind of like collaborating on songwriting.
Now you did, I know I'm rushing through your life here, it's not flitting
I'm
but
not
that's,
too dizzy.
no, that's okay, but you then also, in the 70s, you sort of, you bought an island, you were retired really, semi-retired. Why was that?
I turned around in 1970 at the height of a Japanese tour and said, stop, what else is there? It's like, I'd actually played in every concert hall in the world. I had 13 hit songs in the top 20. In actual fact, at the end of the 60s, people who started in 64 were wearing out a little bit, emotionally and physically. It wasn't drugs, it wasn't drink. I was bored. I'd actually done everything.
And now, look at you're in the light of the mid-90s, here, in this room.
Yes.
Now, you're going to be playing shortly. Before you do, one of the songs you're going to be doing is Mellow Yellow, as well as a newer song. But tell us what is that song, what is it about?
Well, I hear it's about smoking bananas.
Well, it's very nice to have you. We'll look forward to hearing you perform later with the beautiful guitar.
Thanks.
Donovan, ladies and gentlemen. Now,